What's going on YouTube world? Austin Zaback here with another YouTube video, and in this YouTube video we're going to be talking about something that I think is extremely powerful. Now, it is a long video, so I do appreciate you clicking on the video, okay? But you know, for those of you that don't know, I wholesale a lot of real estate. That's essentially where you're flipping the contract on real estate, right? You're not actually buying the real estate, you're just flipping the contract, and we're doing a ton of that every single month. Been doing it for a long time now, and over the years, you know, people have always asked me, Austin, what do you use to get your data? Like, how do you find sellers that want to sell? And, you know, how do you find buyers? And how do you skip trace? And, you know, all these different things that people have asked me over the years. And there's actually one particular system in general that we use primarily. That system is extremely powerful, and in this video I'm actually going to bring a special guest on and share with you exactly what that system is, how you can get that system for free. There's actually a free trial down below. So definitely stay tuned till the end of the video. Again, I do know it is a long video, but I promise you it will be worth it, okay? Again, it might be a little bit boring, but it is worth it. Stay to the end of the video. If you're a wholesaler and you want to get into wholesaling, you've ever thought about getting into wholesaling, this is the video for you. And guys, again, really quick, if you can, smash that like button. It helps a ton with the algorithm on our end. And drop in the comment section down below what you would like to see in a future video. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. We are going to talk about data pulling and what we use to pull our data, how we find cash buyers, and just kind of a number of different things. Okay, so, you know, obviously some of the biggest questions that we get asked on our end as wholesalers, you know, as people that have been in the industry for some time now are, you know, the nitty gritty stuff typically. Typically, it's not a matter of like, you know, how do I wholesale a property, right? Like, what is wholesaling? Or, you know, maybe you're a real estate agent, or maybe you're using this for a number of different reasons. But the reality of it is most people have questions in other areas. You know, it's more nitty gritty. You know, what kind of data do I pull? How do I pull the data? You know, how do I find cash buyers, right? How do I comp a property, you know, in any state in the United States of America? And so we're going to talk today about a bunch of those different things, right? And I have a special guest here with me. So if you are tuning into this video, definitely get out a notepad and take some notes, and definitely stay to the end of the video because you're going to get a ton of value from this. And this will be one of those videos where you watch it and you learn, you get that one golden nugget that just changes the game for you, right? It changes your business and ultimately, hopefully helps you make a ton of money. That is the purpose behind this, is to help you make a ton of money. So I've got the man, the myth, the legend himself, Burton, with me here. And we're just going to go ahead and dive right on into it, Burton. So if you want to hop on here, man, I'd just love to get into it.
Hey there, Austin. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining, and thanks for having me, Austin. I really appreciate it. And yeah, again, I'm the product specialist here at PropString, and the goal today is to kind of help you guys understand what we do with data and how you guys are going to be able to hopefully find some really solid leads with our platform and buyers as well. But yeah, Austin, whenever you're ready to begin, you let me know, and we'll get people dialed in as soon as possible, man.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm ready to go ahead and rock and roll. So whenever you're ready, I want to keep it short and sweet for everybody. So yeah, let's just go ahead and just kind of jump right into it then here.
Awesome. So let me go ahead and get this over here. Let me go ahead and launch my application here. So this is PropString. We did a few updates recently, so let me just explain that. So we've been collecting data for 15 years. We actually have been in the business since 2006. So in this long period of time of collecting data, what we've not only have done in terms of expanding our network and being able to collect data nationwide, but what we've really focused in on is who are the best providers in every county, and that's really the secret recipe when it comes to data collecting. Since our 15 years of collecting data, we've actually been able to pinpoint who the best providers are in each given market. Not only who are the best providers in terms of like pre-foreclosures and auctions and cash buyers, but we also did the same thing with the MLS. So we've partnered up with pretty much 800 plus boards nationwide, because you know, all listings are not on one board. They're scattered throughout all of the United States. But through the 15 years, we built this really great relationship. So that way, when an agent who wants to syndicate their listings with us updates a listing or is putting a property on the market, we're getting that record within 24 to 48 hours. Now, the reason for the delay is it's not just the listing that we're going to give you. We're going to tie in all the other records. So when an agent sends a property that's on market or is being sold now or being listed as a property to be sold, we're going to let you know all the other things that are happening, you know, why it's perhaps being sold, maybe because there's a lien on the property or a bankruptcy, or there's a divorce. So there's all sorts of reasons as to why a property is on market. Maybe it's a non-owner occupied that's on market, so perhaps an investor. So that's what we do really, really well. And so this update is just going to elaborate a little bit more about that. But the real big update is what you're going to see here on the far right side. Not yet out. This is a feature called list management, and this is going to be the revolution of our industry. And what this is going to allow a user to do is we're going to constantly monitor records for you. So when you save a property in a specific filter, you'll save that property, and that specific property or marketing list that you save with that specific filter will constantly be monitored. So as we're doing new updates every day, every month, depending on the category, if it's vacant, for example, we're going to be able to let you know what has met that criteria that's been updated recently and what's no longer meeting that criteria. So you'll be able to instantaneously add the new records or delete the ones that no longer have the divorce that you're looking for or the bankruptcy that you're looking for, or the lien that you're looking for. So not only is it going to constantly do that, but this right here is the deal breaker. What we're going to do is allow anybody to import a list from a different provider, because we know you guys are probably sitting on a few lists you haven't worked on, right? You're going to be able to upload that list into our platform, and then we're going to update it for you. We're going to let you know all the new records that have unfolded on that property. So for example, I can go to a different provider and pull 100 high equity property listings from them. And when I bring it over to PropString, PropString's going to let me know of the 100, how many are on market, how many failed, how many have a bankruptcy, how many have an auction. So now I'm able to qualify that 100 list from a different provider into PropString, know which ones I need to market to first, skip trace, and then market to it right away. So that is something that's not out in the market right now. We're happy to let you know it's coming out very, very, very soon, and it's going to be a complete game changer. So I wanted to let you guys know first the things that we just did recently and the things that are about to get launched. So look out for that. Now,
that's really cool, Burton. I mean, you know, there's a lot of way, you know, I feel like data is so, you know, it's boring, but you guys have taken it and made it fun and interactive and user friendly, you know, and you're able to understand it a little bit more. I think a lot, you know, I've used a lot of data service providers before where it's just confusing. I'm like, did I pull the right data? Like, did I, you know what I mean? And you know, and so that's always been hard for me. Like, I know that, is something that I've struggled with, and I know that if I've struggled with it, I imagine a lot of other people do too. So.
Oh, absolutely. And we try to make it as easy, friendly as possible. The challenge that we honestly face is that we are a data provider, and in this industry, we have all sorts of people using this type of data, information, real estate data, whether you're an agent, a broker, wholesaling, fix and flipping, subject tos, lease option, you're a lender, a contractor. That's what made our system very powerful, is that we, unlike most that are just providing data or a list type, we give the user full capacity to manipulate that data. So if you're looking for a certain category, a certain pain point, or you're trying to avoid a certain category, we've understand in the last few years that it's not just providing a list that's important, but it's giving the user the ability to layer these categories and also cross-reference with the MLS. So essentially, instead of having to build a list and then call an agent and ask the agent which ones are on market or not, our system actually will do that for you. You can choose a category and say, want it off market. And then you can also suppress. So if you guys have dealt with bankruptcies before or a divorce and it's gotten nasty and it took longer than expected, our system allows you to actually suppress certain records. So you can look for a pre-foreclosure without a bankruptcy recording, or a pre-foreclosure, or I'm sorry, divorce recording. So the data manipulation part, I think on our end is par none. There's really, I've dealt with a lot, and there really isn't anything like it. And that's why I'm happy in the last 7 years, we've just been open-minded, and we've really kind of listened to our audience, the contractors and the lenders and brokers and flippers, as to what they need and how we can accommodate that. And here's what we have today. So the cool thing is we started 15 years ago right over here in Southern California, but your playground is now all of the United States. So any user can use our platform to find any motivated seller or a buyer to sell their contract or a property they have in possession. So the way to do this is all you have to do is search a market. Now, you have 5 types of searches that you can perform: a county, a city, a zip code, actually up to 5 zip codes if you want, a specific property address. So if someone says, hey, my aunt's selling their house, or hey, you should look into this address for me, you can type in an address and we're going to give you all the details that we have. And you can even draw out an area and search. So just to kind of give you an idea, even though I'm Southern California, let's say I was interested in searching in Fulton County, Georgia, right? The Atlanta market. I heard there's a lot of good deals out there. So when I search Fulton County, the first thing that it's going to do is zoom in on the market for me, as you can see on the map. And it's going to show you all the records that we've collected in total. So there's over 700,000 records you can go through. Now, you guys can go through them manually, 10 at a time per page. So there's 77,000 pages. You can click on the property, and this is the thing that has separated us from everybody else out there, is that we don't hide. We just give you everything you need to know about that property. So when I click on this property that's the first one listed, the most recent one listed here, I have photos. So this property is on the market. It's photos literally from this week. So I get to see all the rehab that's done, property characteristics down below. We give you bird's eye view, street view as well. So really just kind of letting you know what's unfolding on this property. Other than the photos and street view, you have property characteristics, APN included. You have our estimated value. So we did the luxury of running an algorithm for you. You don't have to go by it, but we did an algorithm for you to let you know what we believe the after repair value is of this property. We let you know what the property type is and all the other encumbrances or situations that are happening on the property. Like right now, this property is on market. So being that's on market, we should see an MLS tab down below. It's not in pre-foreclosure. Go ahead.
And that's interesting, Burton, right? So you're integrated with the MLS. I mean, you were probably about to get to that, but I mean, I've never seen that before.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's not a live feed, but what we are doing is exactly what you stated. We are aggregating data. At the end of the day, these agents have the luxury to not only put it on their MLS board, but they can put it on other public entities, right? Realtor, Zillow, you've heard of the names, and we're the new bad boys, right? They heard about PropString. They love what we do. Here's a slight difference. Here's why our relationship got really strong with them, is what we don't compete them with one another. Not throwing anybody under the bus, but as you can see, there's no ads being run on our platform. So when I'm looking at an MLS listing property, the only information I'm seeing is the agent's information in their brokerage, right? We don't have any ads running from their competitors on the side. So that way, if I'm interested in buying this property or wanting to know more about it, I'm focused on just calling the agents. That way this agent gets all of the commission, right? And that's why they love us. They love us for that very reason, that we're not competing them with one another. And here's the thing that we're able to convince them on. You're not the general public, right? If you're the general public, this would be a free application. You're an investor. There's a purpose for you using our platform. So you're not the average Joe or Jane. You're an investor. And so with that paywall that we have, obviously everyone gets their cut from it, right? So these agents love sending us their data because we obviously pay for it. And through this relationship, that's how we're able to get these 24-hour period. Like this is a property that was listed 4 days ago, right? I don't even have a real estate license. I didn't need to call an agent in a whole different state for me to see an active listing that was just listed 4 days ago. So that's how powerful and how amazing our relationship has been with these data sources, MLS, county, mortgage, title companies. So that way you guys can see it all on one page. Now, as you were not only pointing out to Austin, having access to MLS, but just the level of user friendliness that right. You have the MLS details with county details side by side on one page. Even agents don't have this access. Agents have to have 2 separate websites to see county records and their MLS records at the same time. We have put it all together here for you. So pretty much the summary, value, last year's value. We run comps for you if you want to let us do that for you. So we let you know what the average comps price are. We let you know how many open mortgages are currently on the property and the estimated mortgage balance. This is something different too. We actually go hunt down that information so that way you, the investor, know, okay, maybe I can give them 65% after repair value or of the repair value, or maybe 65% is too low because they owe more than 65%. So without even calling the owner, I'm able to qualify this particular property and strategize my approach. So this could be a lease option, a subject to if the balance is too high, or in this very case, the balance is pretty good. So this could potentially be a flip or a wholesale opportunity. So a lot of information right off the bat here at the top. We include the last prior sale, the opportunity, which is our estimated value, or the estimated value you'll calculate when running comps, minus the estimated mortgage balance. And that's how we let you know what we believe the equity is. And then we also let you know, hey, if you're going to cash flow this property, it typically rents out for $3,300 a month. So this is what we call the dashboard. We believe these are the most important things that you need to know. That way you can analyze and understand what's unfolding immediately. But if you want to get more into detail, all of this information is scattered down here. So from property details, again, county records, you even have mailing addresses if it's a non-owner occupied property. So we now know where to send our postcards, who the corporation is that owns this property, HOA, legal information, last sell information. Again, if it's on market, you see the MLS tab, comparables. So if you guys watch enough sci-fi movies, especially when it comes to technology, you know not to trust it, right? Like Terminator. So what we do is we just let you have it. We're going to give you guys all the records. You have public record comps, which is county sold records, and you have MLS sold records. Two different things, and let me kind of explain the difference between the two. It's all about time frame. So if I'm an agent and I sell a property today, I run back to my office and I go on my MLS and I put the listing price or the sold price and the status that it's sold. Then all that paperwork gets sent to, all the funnels, and then it hits the county. But that could take about a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right? So that's the luxury of having MLS, is you get to see sold records before it actually shows up in the county records. Not only is that important that you get a faster time frame or turnaround, but some of you guys watching this right now are in a non-disclosure state, right? You're in Texas, you're in Utah, you're in Idaho, states that don't provide sell records at a county level. This is why we partnered up with the MLS. So if I'm in Texas, I'm in New Mexico, and I'm trying to run comps, I ignore public records. I just go straight to the MLS section and I start applying my filters, my apples to apples. So I can go back a year, go back 6 months, look for just 2 bedrooms, certain bathrooms, the type of status. So I'm looking for sold MLS. I've seen some people get clever, not only sold MLSs, but you can look for maybe things that are currently active, contingent, or pending. So not only just sold, but something that's in the process of being sold, right? So there are lots of creative ways to find your comps. We even finally included property class and property type. That was the biggest challenge when running comps, is identifying the same subject, right? If I'm looking at a condominium, I don't want single family properties that sold. I want condominiums that sold. So in each of these categories, you can isolate the property class, residential, commercial, office, or any of the below. So for example, residential. And since this is a single family resident, I'm now looking for, down below here, a single family property. But if I was running comps on an apartment, I have other filters as well. So as you apply your apples to apples, pretty much trying to find the same properties very similar to the subject property, your results will narrow down here on the right side, at which point you can click on each property and go to the details. So now I have the details of the property that just sold in this half-mile radius, and it lets me see the photos of this property. It also lets me print out this property's details. So here's a property that sold. I get to see the photos. And if I want to use this property to present to my investor, I hit that print button and we generate a PDF report for you that I can now present to my investor. Hey, Mr. Investor, I found this property. I have it under contract. I ran some county record comps for you. I also have access to the MLS. Here's a property that was just recently sold for $520. Yep. So you have a lot of information that we're going to give you guys. So yeah, I mean, that's just running comps. I know there's quite a lot to absorb, but again, we want to give you guys the luxury of running your own comps. That way you don't have to go by us. I mean, we could be wrong. We don't know your market, and there might be something that you know about your market that we don't know that an algorithm can't catch. So the thing that we've always been about is, again, from the get-go, we want to give the user the ability to just completely manipulate the data to get their comps, to find their leads and whatnot. So that is just the comparable section. tax information, mortgage information, what's current, what was previous, and any transfers. This is how we calculate the estimated mortgage balance. We also have the documents and reports for you, which allows you to purchase the assessor map and the document. So guys, this is the properties page. Every single property in our system, and we have over 200 million records nationwide that you can go through, will have this layout. We'll tell you everything that's unfolding. You can print out the property. You can run an analysis on it to see what your return is. We even include a rehab calculator. I love this tool. This tool is featured by a company called Bluehammer. And what they do extremely well with, actually they work with insurance providers, but they get local level retail costs on a project. So when I'm interested in a project, such as this one, I can go to the rehab calculator and Bluehammer will then allow me to get a cost, retail costs of what a project will be done, or the cost of a project in this property or this neighborhood. So I can start a new project. And for you advanced rehabbers, we got you covered. You can search for individual items, right? So you can, if you know what items you need, you can search for that. For someone like me who's not so familiar with items or what projects need to be done or what you need to do to complete a project, they have popular projects. So here are what most investors do when rehabbing, such as the bathroom. And you can do like a complete remodel or toilet replacement only. Let's say complete remodel. This bathroom is, you know, shower only, natural stone. It has better material. We can do designer material if we wanted. And then we're going to make these repairs in the bathroom. In about 3 seconds, Bluehammer says, okay, guys, here's the retail costs in that neighborhood for a complete bathroom remodel using designer materials. $25,000 retail, $14,000 do it yourself. Here are all the project line items. This is what it normally takes to complete this project. How many hours, like taking out the trash can takes 2 hours at $50 an hour in this market. So here's the idea. It's to give you a foundation on. I know a lot of people tend to round up rehab or they use a certain price per square footage when it does the rehab. You don't have to do that. You can actually use Bluehammer, and Bluehammer will take all the invoices in that market that did a bathroom remodel, average that retail price, and then lay out all the invoices or all the line items that were on that invoice. So now, not only am I providing my investor the printout of the property that's in question, the printout of the comps that I've pulled through the MLS or the public records, but I'm also showing them what the retail cost is to complete a project that need to be done on that property, right? Because I walked the property and we put it on contract and the bathroom needs to be done. So I'm letting my investor know, hey, retail 25,000. Guess what my investor is going to end up doing? Beating out that price, right? His contractor is probably going to do it for $18,000, but that doesn't matter. I'm letting my investor know I did the homework for you guys. I did the homework. So do you want to wire that money? I mean, do you want to take this to the title? I mean, that's really the goal here with working with these certain entities. So that way, not only are you getting the data, but you're able to analyze it, take the data out, as well as run a rehab on it and go from there. So the system allows you to really qualify any property that you have simply by clicking on it. But the real power really boils down to not just the details. As I mentioned, it's the ability to pretty much custom create your situation. So Austin, before I start diving in and sharing these like hot leads that I'm sure people are going to start writing down and taking off with it, did you have any bring-ups, any questions regarding what I've covered so far?
I mean, not really. I mean, it's incredible, right? You know, obviously just reiterating, you know, to everybody listening, just a different perspective of like, look, like at the end of the day, I've used a lot of different systems, you know, so unbiasedly, right, Burton? You know, I know that this is extremely user-friendly. Like the first thing is I'm like, okay, it's user-friendly, and second to none, like you said, you know, past that, I mean, obviously what it can do and what it's capable of is pretty insane. You know, at the end of the day, it just simplifies the business, right? You know, I think a lot of people, you know, they get caught up in the, you know, and I've seen a lot of people look like fools too, like what you were just talking about there, Burton, with, you know, these wholesalers, they think they got the deal locked up at the right price. They didn't get it locked up at the right price because they don't know, because they can't comp it. And now they're pushing it out to their buyers at the wrong price. It makes them look bad, right? And now their buyers are like, hey, take me off of your buyers list because they don't want to look at another one of your properties. So, you know, there's just so many different reasons on why you want to be specific. You want to be dialed in when it comes to this stuff, and you don't want to wing it, right? You want to get in this business, and you want to know that you have the tools and resources necessary to be able to to do it at a very high level. I think you guys have just done a really good job, and it's just impressive.
Thank you so much. And we've had our ups and downs. I mean, we're not perfect. We're still learning things that people are bringing up. We're always accommodating if it makes sense. So yeah, I mean, this is, again, the struggle and understanding of data and the technology in 15 years. And I think we're at a point now where, like, yeah, we're really starting to figure it out. And then it's now moving a lot faster. So my next point is the data manipulation part. And this one's kind of a little bit difficult to explain. So I actually drew out a graph, and I had one of our beautiful marketing team, her name is Liz. She did this graph for me. But I'm going to show you guys this graph. It's my way of easily explaining how we look at data. So this is kind of like my mindset. So this graph here is what I like to, so this is the way I look at property or a homeowner situation, right? A homeowner is going to go through 3 phases. If they're never in a situation, they're going to stay in the good phase, right? They're always going to pay their mortgage payments on time. They're never going to have an encumbrance on their property. So this is what I call the good situation. And usually you're going to find cash buyers in this situation because they're not going to ever sell a house at a discounted price because they're trying to flip properties. People with a lot of equity, right? If you have a lot of equity and I come knocking on your door asking for 65%, you're probably going to say no to me. Same goes for people that own their property outright. So this is a good situation. When you're in the good situation, if you're an investor trying to find a property in this category, here's the things that you're going to be faced with. There's going to be no discount, clearly. If you do get something, it's probably going to be a lot slower because the motivation isn't as high as other categories. And clearly there's no competition here. So you're probably going to get a contract, but again, you have to deal with these other situations. Now, when we jump into the industry, a lot of people are taught to go find motivation. So the first thing they do is they go straight to the high motivation area, right? This is the I need help category. This is what I like to look at it. And these categories are like your pre-foreclosures, your auctions, and if you're in a redemption state, foreclosure. So the reason why people like this category is because it's highly motivated. You're going to get huge discounts, right? People are willing to just take what they owe on the property instead of full price. You'll get faster closing because the auction date is your timeline. You got to beat that timeline. But it's also very competitive, right? Because everybody knows this. Everybody knows you're going to get big discounts. You're going to get faster closing. So me, you, everybody, we're sending postcards to everyone that's in a pre-foreclosure or an auction, right? So this is the left and right side of ownership. But a lot of people fail to realize that there's a middle part. There's the uh-oh stage. There's the situation that causes the pre-foreclosure, right? Bankruptcies, divorces, they're vacant, meaning they're not answering their mail. They've been renting out their property for such a long time, they can't find tenants anymore. They're just tired of doing it. Or there's a lien recorded against the property. So once you understand the 3 levels that a homeowner can be faced with, then our system kind of makes more sense because now I can say, okay, well, if I'm in the mood to find a highly motivated situation, well, let's go into PropString and find a highly motivated situation. So with that said, what I can do is I can go into PropString. I can go to any market. So let's go to Miami, for example. And I see my high motivated categories already, pre-foreclosures, auctions, and foreclosures. So I can click on that. And the moment I click on that, it's going to isolate that category instantly to the right. So at this point, I can just go through them manually one at a time, but that's going to take too long. So this is what I call our bread and butter. This is where you, the user, gets to manipulate the data as you see fit, right? So some of you guys are looking for a non-owner occupied property or an absentee owner. So you would do non-owner occupied. Some of us like to knock on doors. So you're going to hit yes. Maybe your team will do both. So you can do any. Next is quick list choices. What category do you want us to filter down? So this is like the trigger point, right? So think of it like a pyramid. Category first, and then you can filter everything below it. So choose your category. If you leave it blank, we'll take your filter on the left side and go through everything for you. But in this example, highly motivated, pre-foreclosure, that's non-owner occupied. It's currently vacant, so maybe the homeowner has been trying to rent it out but can't find a tenant because now it's in pre-foreclosure, right? So thinking of a story and that story is being unfolded. I can apply property characteristics, so I'm looking for commercial or residential, single family, multifamily, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, lot square footage, year built home features. So have fun with the property characteristics. But this is the most important part. This is, again, instantaneous. This is what people were doing when they had a realtor on their team. They would take pre-foreclosure records, then call an agent and ask an agent, hey, I'm looking for all the active listings that have been on the market for 5 months. And in a second, I can do that. Currently, there's no ones that match that, or I can do ones that are off market because they recently failed. So here are people that are in pre-foreclosure and they tried to sell their property with an agent, but they failed. That's one less avenue they can take. So when I call them, what do I know? Hey, you tried to sell your property. It didn't work. So whatever value that was, I'll give you 10%, or I'll give you 30% less of that listed value. So you can come up with your own predicament and instantaneously get that category built for you. Now, most of us, we're just going to go to on market. No, we're looking for pre-foreclosure that's vacant, that's currently not on the market. So MLS is the first layering that you can do. The next layering is pre-foreclosure and foreclosure. Since I'm looking for a pre-foreclosure, instead of layering, this is technically refining. So I'm looking for a notice of default pre-foreclosure, or an auction pre-foreclosure, or a pre-foreclosure recorded in the last 30 days, or the auction is starting January 1st, opening bid has this amount, the pre-foreclosure perhaps was released 6 months ago, or the default amount right now is $500,000 or more. So this section will allow you to layer another category. So if I was searching, let's say, liens, I can now look for liens that are also facing an auction. So we can layer multiple categories, or if I'm looking for a pre-foreclosure, then this category is refining that pre-foreclosure search I'm doing, okay? So once I'm done with that, we have ownership info, how many years the person has owned the property, the type of owner, or when they last bought it, or what they last bought it for, or the location of the owner. So think of it this way, right? A non-owner occupied person, so this owner owns a property, they don't live in it. Now this owner is in a whole different state. Like, that headache just went up even higher. So, sorry, I just knocked down my headphones because I got really excited because I saw 19 people in Miami that need my help right now. But no, that was the idea. So not only is it non-owner occupied property, but here are 19 homeowners that don't even live in the same state, and they have to deal with the property that's about to be foreclosed on, right? They might just be willing to just let it go if the price is right. So in a matter of a second, I took how many records that we started off with? 4,500 records, and dropped it down to the 19 that are very highly distressed. Yep. So you have all these amazing layers from out of state, out of county, local. You can add layers. So I'm looking for a pre-foreclosure that has an active bankruptcy. And the reason why maybe one would want to do that is, think of it. In order for a homeowner to get out of pre-foreclosure, they have to pay their debt, right? But if you're filing for bankruptcy, you don't have any income coming. So if there's no income coming, who's going to pay for the debt? No one is. So your probability of going into foreclosure increases instantaneously. So those would be the ones I would probably focus on instead of the 4,500 pre-foreclosure. The pre-foreclosures with bankruptcies are my first ones I'm calling right away. So you see how this works? Being able to layer and suppress is brilliant. So not only can you do a pre-foreclosure with a bankruptcy, but some of these pre-foreclosures might have divorce recordings. And guess what? You don't want to have to get 2 signatures. So you can suppress data. I'm looking for pre-foreclosures that don't have a divorce recording. So we go from, whatever the number was down to 106. Yep. So lots of layering and suppression. And then the last 2 categories are valuation and equity info. This will allow you to put estimated value, rental estimated value, growth, estimated equity, equity of percentage. So if we're trying to wholesale, we need about 65% or more in equity. Now we go from 106 down to 73. Mortgage information. So some of you guys are looking for a certain situation, not just a pre-foreclosure, but some of you guys might think a person with 3 mortgages is a lead, right? Or 2 mortgages is a lead. So you can come up with your own predicament as to why a homeowner would consider selling their home. And this is our bread and butter. Is we understood in the last few years, it's not just giving you guys a category to pull out of our system, but it's giving you guys full control. So that way you can go from 4,500 records down to the 73 that are highly motivated. And as I was showing you guys, that's over here, right? If pre-foreclosures start right here, then pre-foreclosures with bankruptcies that failed on the market will be a much higher motivated category than these guys down here. But what happens when we're looking for high motivation? We're dealing with a lot of competition. So data suppression was the next thing I want to focus on. if you're in a market where it's very competitive because everyone's marketing to pre-foreclosure, our system will let you focus in the uh-oh category. So I can go into PropStream and start excluding or suppressing those high categories. So same market, Miami, Florida. I'm now looking for non-pre-foreclosure properties. So I'm going to go into the filter, same category, non-owner occupied, vacant, but this time I'm looking for the liens. Reason why is a lien is usually prior to a pre-foreclosure, right? You don't pay your liens, your mortgage, your taxes. That lien can cause a foreclosure. So I'm looking for all the non-owner occupied or vacant properties that have a lien. They're off market. But this time I'm going to go into the pre-foreclosure section and suppress the pre-foreclosure. So I want all the liens that are off market and not in pre-foreclosure yet. So while these investors are waiting for these pre-foreclosure records to show up, I'm way over here, guys. I'm over here making contact with homeowners that are not in pre-foreclosure yet. Now, again, the level of motivation isn't as high, so they might say no the first phone call, but that's what follow-up is all about. You guys have heard about marketing and the 7-time follow-up or whatever your strategy is. That's what I'm trying to explain to people, is that to be able to suppress a category and find someone in the early stages is pinnacle, because if you do the right follow-up, they're going to say no the first time, maybe no the second time. Third time, they'll probably know your name and maybe consider your offer. Still might say no. But by that fourth time, fifth time, sixth time, they might finally decide to go with your offer, right? And what was the idea? The idea is we got a contract potentially signed way before it showed up in pre-foreclosure, way before our competition got to see that property, right? Or that homeowner in that situation. So what I just showed you guys right now is looking for liens that are off market, not in pre-foreclosure, that are owned by an individual, let's say for 5 years or more. And how do I know that they're going to head into pre-foreclosure? Well, there's a bankruptcy recorded on that property. So they're not going to be able to pay that lien at all because of that bankruptcy. Or if it's not a bankruptcy, maybe the lien is so high that they have to now consider selling the house. Maybe the lien is at $25,000 minimum and it's a tax lien. So Uncle Sam is not going to let you fly with 25,000 or more. So here are my, what I like to call pre-foreclosures, I suppose, right? My 10 properties that are not in pre-foreclosure yet, but they have a lien of 25,000 or more. And clearly they're probably going to need an exit plan, either to sell the property to an agent, right? But currently it's off market. So if I can call them first and give them a good offer, they never need to call an agent. Or, again, we can they can ignore the situation and then go into pre-foreclosure, and then everyone gets to see their situation, or everyone that's doing pre-foreclosures only is now your competition. So 10 properties not yet in pre-foreclosure that I can call now and build that relationship and hopefully get that deal signed way before that notice of default or auction date is assigned. So this part right here, guys, is going to be your best friend, and you can do absolutely any situation, any category, whether it's motivated sellers, or if not motivated sellers, we can even find buyers. So you can look for cash buyers that bought a single family property, so residential single family. This buyer is an individual and they bought it at the beginning of the year. So not only can you find your motivated sellers, but now you can find the buyers that are buying single family properties that you can market your contract to. And here are 221 buyers at the beginning of the year. So that is the filtering, guys. That is really like the pinnacle of our system, why we did what we did. It's not just giving you data, it's giving you full access to manipulating, and pretty much you could think of a situation and come up with it in our filter. And that's, to me, what a lead is. A lot of people say, hey, you got to find a motivated lead or find a lead. No one really knows what a lead is. Here's the answer. It's a predicament. It's someone facing a situation. It could be a pre-foreclosure, a bankruptcy, a lien that could use some assistance, right? Whether it's to sell their house through market or through an agent or through an investor like yourself. So finding a predicament is what you can do in our system. And when you get your results, then you can click on the property and go into the details and go from there. And the last thing I'll leave you guys off with is we do have other tools for you, not just to build your list, but you can save your properties to a marketing list. So Miami buyers, spelling that all wrong, Miami buyers. And once you save your marketing list, you guys can export the data. So if you're just here for the data, once you save your lists, we store them in the properties page for you, and you can export it from there, or you can skip trace. So in about 5-10 minutes, we can give you the buyer's phone numbers and emails, and it's all tiered price for you. You get to choose whether you just want phone numbers, emails, or both. And so in about 5-10 minutes, not only did I just build a list of buyers in Miami, but I now have their phone numbers and emails, and then I can export it, or I can take it to the last stop, which is the campaign page. And this will allow you to essentially send postcards to these buyers as mailing addresses or tax liens that you have built. You can do ringless voicemails or emails. So that is how our system works in its totality, is searching any market in the United States, custom building your search or refining a category that we have for you, going through the property, running comps at a local level or MLS level, using the rehab calculator to calculate what the rehab really would be. Then you can save that, export it, or you can skip trace it and market to it. And the last thing you can do is, heck, you know what? I want to know when new buyers show up every single time in this market. So you can save a search, Miami buyers, apply your details. You can even replace one of your categories here at the top if you want. But most importantly, you can set up notifications. So the system can let you know when a new buyer populates in Miami that fit your criteria, either immediately, daily, or weekly. And I recommend that. Anytime you do a save search, it gets stored here. And as you guys can see, I got kind of carried away a little bit, but that's the idea. We want you to do that. So that way, when you log off and you log back in, there's no need to type in Miami and that intricate filter that you did. You can go to your all searches and find one that you previously had, click on it, and that filter and that result will populate back into the system with all the filters that you had saved previously. Plus, you're getting email notifications. So, I mean, you can either do it the hard way, which is search the same filter every single day and wait for new records to show up every day, or let us do that for you, right? Set up that notification, sit back and relax, and we're going to let you know when a new buyer shows up, or a new pre-foreclosure, or a new bankruptcy, or a new whatever category you're saving at that point. But with that said, guys, that is our product in its totality. Data manipulation is the key, and I hope you guys were able to see that aspect of our system. It's not just data pulling, but data manipulation, giving you, the user, and pretty much anybody, the ability to do what they want with the records that we have.
100%. I mean, there's hardly anything to add to that. I mean, it's really cool system. You know, I wanted to just show everybody what was possible, what we use. Obviously, we get the question all the time, and now you guys, now you know, right? Now you know what we use, and you know, we've used a lot of different things over the years. And you know, in the past, we've had to go and use a bunch of different things, and now more or less we just use one thing, which is really nice. So that's pretty much it. Tell them how when I first heard about it, I figured, I'm like, man, it's got to be like $1,000 a month. You know what I mean? How much is it?
Well, it's funny that you say that. If I told you what it costs per lead. So first off, you get unlimited searches nationwide. Each user will get up to 10,000 properties they can export on a monthly basis. And it's literally less than a penny per lead. So your price is only $97 a month. So there's no yearly terms. Unless you're interested, you can give us a call. We can help you out with that. But it's $97 a month for unlimited searches nationwide. So you can search out of your market. You're not buying an area. You're literally can search anywhere in the market. $97 a month for unlimited searches, 10,000 exports per month. Now, what I did, clicking on properties and all that good stuff, that doesn't count. That's part of the unlimited searches. It's actually when you check off your records and add it to a list that it finally goes against your 10,000, right? So if I don't hit this add to list, it never counts against me. I can literally go through all these records and then say, you know what? I want numbers 1, 3, 4, or all the odd numbers, and then save it. That was what made us different, is we want you to qualify your leads, right? You don't have to take our word for it. We built you your results, but if you want to go in there and really dissect them and then, you know, determine, okay, I got 100 results, but I really need just the first 50, then the first 50 that you save is what counts against you. So searching it doesn't count against you. Saving it is what does. So that's why I always emphasize unlimited searches. Start there, search your records, qualify them, then save them, because that's what's going to count against you guys.
I love it. I think that's pretty much it, Burton. If
Yeah, absolutely.
anybody's watching this on replay, drop, if you have any questions, obviously either reach out to them or there's probably a comment section around here somewhere. So drop in the comment section what questions you have, and either Burton or myself will be happy to obviously answer. It'll probably end up being Burton.
Most definitely. Yeah, but we're always helpful. I mean, if you have a question, I'd be happy to address it now. We also have a help section here on the far left, video tutorials for you. You have our customer support email. You have our 800 number. We're in the office Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Heck, you might even get a hold of me. I sometimes answer these phone calls. I like to know what you guys are doing. And so, yeah, feel free to call in. And what we don't do, I mean, this is what Austin is known for, the educational part, right? We can help you guys get to the leads in terms of what to do once you have that. Austin's going to help you guys out. So make sure you use us to find those leads and find those buyers. But get back with Austin because he's going to help you guys get, through that whole process of getting that deal done. So with that said, guys, yeah, if you have questions, let me know. But if not, I think we're pretty much all good to go. Unless you feel like you need to keep them on. I think we're pretty much good.
We're good. I'd imagine anybody can shoot us questions afterwards. So I'll be taking a burden, and I'll let you know if anybody has any after we save the replay.
Absolutely. And last thing, guys, too, before I let you go, we did give Austin a discount. So that $97 price point I mentioned is only through Austin. Make sure you guys click on his link. If you sign up through our website, you will be paying the full price of $99 a month. It's a $2 discount, but trust me, with skip tracing, ringless voicemails, and postcards, it's going to add up. So you definitely want to save as much as you can so you can use that aspect. So yeah, if you guys are interested, 7-day trial, make sure you guys click on Austin's link and get that information. Okay, guys?
Perfect. Awesome. I really appreciate your time, Burton.
Absolutely, Austin. You have yourself a wonderful day, and everybody else, you have a great day and enjoy the holiday season as well.
Thank you.